President Trump is struggling with the key demo for him of old people. So CNN went to a Florida retirement community and spoke to the voters. Watch this.
Florida today reported a record high for coronavirus cases, more than 10,000 new infections, and the pandemic seems to be impacting voters' choices. CNN's Jeff Zeleny talked to some longtime Republicans who say they will not vote for Trump because of his response to the pandemic.
Well, based on my friends, he doesn't have a chance. He blew it.
John Dudley is talking about President Trump, who he supported 4 years ago, but won't again.
He had everything. We were so excited in the beginning. A businessman to run our country like a business. And it hasn't happened. All he succeeded in doing was he juiced up the stock market, and now that's gone to pot because of the coronavirus.
Dudley is a retired banker and the face of a new Trump campaign worry, losing the senior vote. Amid summertime signs of anxiety, from the beach to testing sites for soaring COVID cases. Here in Florida, people 65 and older made up 21% of the vote in 2016. Trump won that group by 17 points. Polls now show Joe Biden with an edge among seniors in key battleground states and nationally. For Trump, there is virtually no path to winning without Florida, which make places like the on-top-of-the-world retirement community critical terrain.
I had to change parties. I could not do this anymore.
Paula Schelling abandoned the Republican Party. Marcia Lund still considers herself a Republican, but not a Trump one.
I hope that I was wrong in not voting for him and that he would turn out to be a great president. But it didn't happen.
Even loyal Trump supporter Robert Bleffin wishes the president would do one thing.
Our president should wear a mask because, we're doing it. We're supporting him.
On Florida's Gulf Coast, Trump won Pinellas County by 1 percentage point, the same margin he carried the state. Since then, Democrats have seen a new surge in voter registration.
There are more Democrats now than there used to be in years past.
Do you know any people who voted for Trump last time who are not going to this time?
Actually, I know several,
You do?
Including my son and grandson.
Listen, I told you. I love this segment because it verifies something that I've been arguing on this show for a long time. Trump is going all in on the culture war as his 2020 strategy. And I told you the culture war is an ancillary issue. The only people who care more about that than these other problems are people who are hardcore political junkies and are either brainwashed by Fox News or are on the left and are strongly in the Black Lives Matter movement. There's only a small percentage of people who really put the culture war stuff front and center. Most normal people are like, hey, dog, there's a pandemic still roaring. We have over 120,000 Americans dead. And that number is going to rise dramatically because we just hit another single-day record. Every day is a new single-day record for COVID cases with new testing. So normal people, even ones who voted for Trump the last time, are like, whoa. You don't even have this pandemic under control. And you're talking about statues? You're talking about statues. Trump gave a speech the other night, and he was talking about going to Mars. Bitch, 20 million people just lost their health insurance during a pandemic, and you're talking about Mars. So average normie people are just like, what are you doing? You're trying too hard. You're missing the mark. You're focusing on the wrong issues. You cannot focus on cultural nonsense when we have a pandemic and a Great Depression. Turns out it just falls by the wayside. People don't really care that much in one direction or the other. When it comes to statues, when you have a pandemic and a depression, this stuff is so obvious. Now, there's one other point to add to this. So point number one is the COVID failure of Trump is everything. And when you compare the U.S. to other countries, our failure is so painfully obvious that it's embarrassing that we still have soaring cases and other countries relatively have it under control with a few exceptions. But the overwhelming majority of the world has it under control and we're just a mess. So the COVID failure is everything to these people. But beyond that, people don't viscerally hate Joe Biden in the same way that they viscerally hated Hillary. They just don't. Now, Hillary had the chance to also not be viscerally hated if she ran a better campaign. You know, Biden, the low-key brilliance of Biden's strategy is he's hiding. And when you hide, people don't fill in the blank of you not being there with the worst version of you. You know what I mean? It's not like with Biden gone that people are focusing on the worst aspects of Biden. They're just not thinking about Biden. So, and that helps him. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So, people don't viscerally hate him in the way that they viscerally hated Hillary. Maybe Hillary should have hid for the entire campaign, and maybe she would be president today if that was the case. But they just don't hate him in the same way that people hated Hillary. So the fact that COVID is still destroying the country and we have an economic depression and real unemployment is over 20%, just those two things and the fact that people don't hate Biden, that's it. That's it. That's game, set, match, son. So, and now you see it from people who were big Trump supporters. You'd be surprised. There's only maybe 30 to 35% of the country that are really the hardcore, I would say like Trump cultists, who would just never abandon him and every criticism of him is fake news. And no, that's a relatively small percentage. It really is. And now you're seeing what happens when he's unable to expand that coalition and that tent by being somewhat normal and focusing on the serious things. How are you going to focus on COVID for like 2 months and do the daily press conferences? They just abandon it, and now we have record cases. You were doing press conferences every day when there were far fewer cases per day. It makes no sense. He's like a kid who was playing with the toy and then just like, fuck this toy, and grabs a new one. And it's like, well, what about the old... what is that? I don't even know what that is. What are you talking about, bro? Is that even my toy? It's like he's acting out with COVID. He's like, COVID? COVID? I don't even know what COVID is. What COVID? Is that some sort of new album or something? Is that a band? COVID. What's COVID-19? I don't even know. COVID-19. What? That's his strategy on COVID. Oh, it's really the slow, torturous destruction of Trump. And it is interesting to watch.